Welcome back to some more Create Integrated. Now today is World Download Day, and every 10 episodes, to say thanks to those who do support me, I do publish a world download to the Downloads channel. So if you are a supporter of any tier, be sure to gain access to that download over on the Discord. You can find that, of course, linked down in the description below. No matter what platform you support from, whether that is on Patreon, through Twitch, here as a YouTube member, or even through the Discord itself, be sure to get your world download, and let's get on with today's video. Now today I've got some pretty big plans for this factory area, and I plan on expanding it even more and making sure this area has some more functionality. But as of right now, the concepting of the build is the easy part. The tools to be able to build it, well, that's going to take me a little bit of time. See, I have a very special way that I like to build, especially if I have tools like the building gadgets, for example. And building gadgets we do have. There's just a few steps that we're going to have to, well, go through in order to be able to functionally use them. Now, first thing I'm going to need is more stress units. And so more water wheels is what it's going to be for right now, with the goal to eventually replace these, but I probably won't. These are really nice looking. And the way that I've set them up, they do make for a really nice rotational piece. And to be fair, they don't cause all that much lag, so just something to keep in mind. Now, if you're using shaders, that may be a different story. Now, with a matching water wheel, I just want to combine its stress into this one's stress. So to do that, I'm going to carry a shaft all the way across. But we can't carry it all the way because these are rotating in opposite directions. So to make sure that those directions merge together, we'll use a gearbox. And this will take two opposite rotating directions and merge them together seamlessly. So now we went from having only 8,000 SU left to now giving ourselves a nice 40,000, which is going to be very helpful for our next step. Because if we're going to make anything that uses power, we've got to have a way to actually get that power. Now, this is Create. Like, how exactly are we generating power? Well, we can actually turn stress units, believe it or not, into direct RF power. The way we do that is by making an alternator. Just like a car has an alternator, this is the same thing. It's taking rotational power and it's going to turn that into energy, but it does come at a little bit of a loss, especially whenever you go to put it into an electric motor. You're not going to get 100% output here. It is going to cost 480 FE to do a maximum of 256 RPM, whereas this, if you feed it 256 RPM, it's going to cost 16,384 SU or stress units, and it's going to give you a total of 360 FE per tick at that current speed. Now, at that rate, I mean, it's not that great, but we are going to have to expand our infrastructure down the road, so we will have more SU, we will have plenty to spend on power sources, and we may even need an entire setup just dedicated towards power, especially when we get into refined storage. Recipe for the alternator is not too bad. We do need zinc sheets and copper sheets to be able to make the capacitor, and the rest of this is going to require a rolling mill. So to be able to make copper wire, we need this rolling mill, and this thing is not too bad to set up either. Since we're already at max rotation speed over here, it totally makes sense that I should tap into this current speed for the rolling mill. So this is going to attach directly to the side. That's going to speed up. And we just need to use some chutes on the top and bottom and something like a barrel to send ingredients in and receive ingredients as an output. First thing the list to go in, just send some iron in here. That's going to turn it directly into iron rods. And then we can do the same with our copper, turning it into wire. Now over here at our crafter, this is going to be the first time that we're actually using the mechanical crafter to craft something that is not going to fit perfectly in the shape of the crafter that's formed. So how exactly are we going to do this? Well, it's a little easier than you might think. So once you have a defined recipe like this right here, that is the exact recipe we're trying to make, all you have to do is give it a redstone signal by like hitting a button, for example, and it will force the craft to happen. And so it's going to take everything that we just placed in here, so long as it's placed in at least in the shape that it's supposed to be and fits within the structure, it will combine everything together into the thing we're trying to craft. For example, in this case, an alternator. Beautiful. Now, we're not done yet. There's still like a way that we need to technically get power into things. And there's a couple of options. The easiest early option is probably our backpacks. But like the quest does mention, there is a way to transport power, store power, and also send and charge things that are on a depot with something called a Tesla coil. We'll get into that later on through the episodes. but this is something to keep in mind that you can definitely make. But now one of the easier ways to do this is just by crafting a battery upgrade for the backpack. Yeah, your backpacks can store power. And we can use something like our free copper backpack that we got. Put this upgrade in here, and you can see this now holds 50,000 FE. And it also gives you a charging slot. So we have a input to be able to send power from things back into the battery, and a way to put power from the backpack into things. So now for the fun part, I'm going to make my first building gadget. So all the building gadgets I did theme to match the create ingredients and things like that. And I thought that was a pretty fun thing for me to do. So I've got a regular building gadget. That's great. But I do want an exchanging gadget and a regular building gadget. Both of these incredibly powerful tools to have in your building arsenal. Now let's put this bad boy to work. So if we plug the alternator in, you can see it is using 16,000 SU and it's producing at a rate of 360 FE per tick. And if we give ourselves a backpack here, place it on the ground, this bad boy is now charging up. And so with this charge, we can put our building gadgets in the charging slot, and it is now charging up our building gadget. That's exactly what we want to see. We want to be able to charge these things. Now, this isn't the fastest way to charge these things. Definitely not. Definitely not. There is a faster way, and that is definitely by using that other method that I mentioned earlier. But we'll get into that a little bit later, especially once we have more of a factory face built up. And there we go. Both of these bad boys are now charged up. Just took a little bit of time to get that done, but here we go. So if you hit G, you can pull up this menu that allows you to access building gadgets. There's a lot of different modes. It can do a lot of cool different things, but one of my favorites is just simply the build to me function. It is very, very useful. For example, if I place a barrel here, I can shift right click to select said barrel. And with the build to me, I just right click and it's going to build up the barrels to me. And if I didn't like that, I can just open the menu and hit undo, and it will just undo my mistake. Super handy. Similarly, with the exchanging gadget, I can select a block, for example, this barrel, and let's say this andesite I want to replace with that barrel. It gives me the andesite back and then places the barrel. And then if we undo, it's going to take it out of my inventory and place it back in. Now, things like stone, for example, it will give back cobblestone, and it doesn't really allow you to place it back, so we do have to do one thing to this exchanging gadget first. And that is going to be getting ourselves a guaranteed Silk Touch enchant. Very nice. So now, I guess, let's get into building. So as far as materials go, the base material of this is definitely going to be brick. Now, the different variants of brick, well, that is going to be determined by the way I plan on shading this build. So we have a ton of different options in here, especially with our chipped, and we also have create variants that we can use with a stone cutter. And I mean, there's just so many options. Now, the theme and idea for this is to have these be some pretty large windows, and then the center point right here, I want this to be like a garage door, like an entry into the actual building. Now, the more I look at this, the more I realize, okay, so this is floor level and there's going to be window seals here. This is fine, but these probably need to be raised up one more because I went 9 blocks up. And so this is the 9th block. I probably want to take this up one more, and this one went up to 11. I probably want to take this one up one more as well. And same on this side, which is 9 blocks tall plus 1 because, yeah, I'm going to count the window sill as the starting point. So now I'm going to be using several different building techniques in order to get this build done. So one of those is the trowel and using random block placement to mix and match base layers. So for example, I'm using trodden tough, which I got from the chipped mod. And then we have regular create, which I got from chiseling this. And we have these tough pillars and also layered tough. Now the tough pillars I have spread out so that way we'll end up with a more even distribution of these. And I'm not going to place them in the windowsills as of right now, but they will go in like these gap locations. You can see right there, this gives a really nice texture, and we can mix and match on these wall textures by placing this down like so. I think these though, the trowel may not, oh boy, the trowel does not like to place these the direction you're looking. Or at least it doesn't seem that way. But this is fine. We'll go back in and we can actually fix all of this. What I'll do for right now is just simply line the entire area with a mix of these different materials. With the base outline done, this is where I could basically replace these blocks and make sure they are in the correct position. Because whatever position that you do the shift right click on is the position that the building and exchanging gadgets will store, and that is the orientation that these blocks will be placed in. So it's going to be able to flip them all. And now for another technique using the building wands. We can set this to randomly place. We are going to set it to match any and no restriction on the direction. And this will allow us to place up, and anything that's in my hotbar is now going to be randomly placed, giving us this nice raised sort of pattern here. And I'm going to go in through here by hand, and I'm going to break some of this off. This is going to give us like a nice dark starting texture. I do recommend leaving the corners raised though. So yeah, corners being raised is going to be pretty nice. And then through here, I'm going to pop in, just chip some blocks every now and then, and this will give it some nice raised texture. Now, I was looking at different textures for the brick. Instead of using the standard brick texture, these brick textures are gorgeous. And I think these are going to look a whole lot better, and we can sort of mix and match. But first, I want to lay a base layer of bricks, and I think I'm going to go with the bricks. This allows you to chisel all of them. And so we can take something like our stick here, or we can just use building gadgets, and we can use that build to feature. And we need to build up as high as we plan on having the wall. Or at least as high as we plan on having the base layer of bricks, because I do want another layer on top of this. But as of right now, I think going at least as high as the starting point of the top highest window is going to be a good idea. Then I can use my building gadgets, and we just look down and we right click. And when we do this, this is just going to build up all of these blocks, making building so much easier. But here we are. I mean, this is about as ugly as it gets. Yeah, we don't have anything defined yet. It is just a solid wall of bricks, but this is where we get to change it a little bit. We first need to chip away, just like we did on the other layer. I'm going to chip away a little bit every now and then. This will allow us to have these like organic looking cracks, and we'll make this look even better later on when we add some foliage. But yes, first step, let's get the whole wall sort of built, and then we're going to start to sort of texture this. After breaking all of those holes, I'm going to fill those holes with a base layer of granite. And then to add some separation, I'm going to be doing a mix similar to the bottom, where I'm going to do some granite pillars. And this is actually going to be raised up 2 blocks like this. Now we can't have this ugly building setting here without a roof. So to start the process of the roof, it is going to be an outline that is just going to continue all the way through. I'm going to sort of use this granite pattern for right now. We can exchange it later on. It's not a big deal. That's the cool part about building gadgets. If you make mistakes, it's pretty easy to fix any mistake, and you don't even need to like go up to the area or have flight to be able to do it. So yes, I'm going to continue up by making this sort of pyramid looking shape, but I'm only going to go up so high because I have a plan for this roof. On the roof, I've gone up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tall. That's going to be plenty. And now that I have this shape defined, I can start to shape the roof a little bit more. So I want this to be 2 blocks and then 2 blocks, and continuing this pattern, breaking these down 2 blocks, and so on and so forth. Now, I mean, we're almost there. We're definitely getting somewhere. We're getting that industrial vibe going on. Still a lot more to do. And I think getting the roof somewhat placed on is going to be a good idea. Now for the roof as well, I think this will be a good idea just to lay a template, and then we can texture later, almost like we're painting a canvas, but the canvas just so happens to be a building. And this is just a technique that I really like to use when I have the building gadget mod. I'm going to take some of this cobbled deep slate, because I think a really good roof texture is the actual cobbled deep slate itself. And yeah, I'm just going to make a bunch of slabs from it. I mean, that just makes total sense. Now for the outline of the roof, I mean, just going with regular deep slate for right now, some real thick, chunky deep slate, it's probably going to get the job done. So for right now, I'm going full blocks. So I'm going to outline a layer, actually not on the outside, believe it or not. I'm just going to outline a layer through the top, going up and over all of the blocks. That way I can just use the building gadget on the other side to carry this entire pattern over. And this is where you could definitely change the mode. For example, you could do a surface mode and extend the range, or you could just continue to use the build to me, which I still think is the best, because it's going to allow us to bridge all the way over here to the exact point where we're standing. And look, it carries this all the way up to this point. If you extend over a little bit off the block, you can get the entire thing. So nice. Now for the fun part, coming up with a design for the actual roof shingles. I'm going to be rotating through these blocks, and I'm probably going to go up like every 2 blocks. like this, wrapping all the way up and continuing that pattern. But I'm going to go up like this and keep doing that all the way till I wrap around. Now, remember how I said I had something special planned for the roof? Well, now's where you get to kind of know what that is. I am lining now out an entire section to be able to place windows that are going to be raised up like this and sort of popping up from the roof. And then the outer edge of the border is going to be here. And so these are going to be kind of rounded off. We have these containers that are going to be housing the window. So I will be popping out the bottom section and then also extending this weathered iron down into that. Another reason the building gadget is so good. I mean, just look at this. I'm able to place these in like so on the bottom from inside the building. So with the windows trimmed up, it's time for the fun part, laying in the actual windows, which in this case, let's do build to me. And we'll just continue placing this like directly in the center, I believe, of this. I think that's going to work. I don't think that looks half bad, kind of continuing that glass while also having it framed out. But there is other glass that I do want to be, I kind of want to put in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down some of this weathered iron, which is a beautiful, beautiful new window from Create. And what I want to do is I want to set in a pillar down the center for these two big windows. And on the sides, I want to use the glass panes. To make this easier, we can just simply click and that all gets filled in and it gives this really beautiful window effect, just like so. Same for these. Lock in, click, and we can continue placing in these windows. And then on the other side, this I also want to be a window. I do want the tuff to be on the bottom like this, and I've framed it out with some tuff. Now here, I've got to figure out where do I want this window and how do I want it to be aligned. I think what I want is the window to be aligned like this, and then the window pane itself, to give it some more detail, to be on the side. And we may come back and make these kind of look open later on. We'll worry about that here in a second. Now, so far, so good. We have the outline of essentially a factory building. But at the moment, it still looks very flat. There's a few things, though, that we can do to make these textures not look so flat. We can start using that method that I mentioned before that allows us to sort of add in some different textures here. For example, I'm using a stacked borderless brick, which is the same brick texture, just it doesn't have a border. And I can go in like every other brick, maybe extend these out like this. On the corners here, we are taking this and giving this sort of like split brick pattern, almost like it was kind of layered together like this. And I can also go through here and with some of this etched brick, make it look like there's been some repairs throughout the years. So this is definitely going to throw in that like repaired look and really split up these textures. Now I expanded the window out a little bit, so just basically pulled it out one block, but it is still basically flush on the inside, giving a little bit of a window sill, which I can use later on, keeping most of this sort of flat on the face. But I think so far this is starting to turn out really, really nice and the textures are looking good. Still got a lot more to kind of define on the outside, but now I want to pull out the roof. So to be able to pull out the roof, I want to make sure that it goes out to at least these blocks, but it is going to extend one block past, and this is going to be pulled out from this level right here. And we're actually going to go down one level, believe it or not, so that way we can keep this nice and flat. So there we go. So this is going to keep mobs from spawning on top of everything else, but we got to bring this all the way out, and I'll end up building up a ridge on the outside of this. It's going to look pretty nice when it's all said and done. Now, I hope you guys are enjoying this like sort of explanation of building. Usually I just put it into a time lapse and you can kind of see the process as I go, but I really wanted to explain, at least here in this like first few episodes, sort of explain the building process as I go on. The support beams, let's see, girder, and then we also have a shaft that leads up like this. That looks pretty good. Now, another nice building technique is to use these brackets. You can make this look like these are being supported and kind of being hung onto the wall. It's a really nice effect. And so right now I'm sort of doing anything that I can to just make this not look super flat. Now I was thinking about even more ground decoration, like stuff around the outside that would make this feel more alive. Of course, having some of the products that are being produced like sort of scattered outside is going to be a good idea. But also things like, I don't know, maybe these industrial holes. For example, we can put like industrial holes up the side here, and then I'll cap this off with like this industrial cogwheel. and then a smaller one on top of that, just sort of adding some flutter to the side. And then we also have this train hole, which I think could look nice maybe over here too. And it doesn't have to be like perfectly symmetrical or anything like that. And it could be even smaller, still though going to cap it off with like the cogwheel and another cogwheel on top. I don't know, stuff like this like starts to really add to the shape, and these things are just coming from Create Deco, by the way. Something else we can do is utilize vaults, and we do have the ability to make different vaults, vertical vaults actually. So like 3 vaults going vertical. Look at that. That is a different look. And then we have these little shipping containers that are like little storage crates that we could also incorporate into the build, and it'll give it a little bit of color here. So now that the exterior, I mean, is starting to look pretty darn good, I think we should probably start working on the interior of the space and making it look a little bit better. There's still a little bit more to the landscape that I want to adjust and even add some extensions on the outside and also add some things to the roof to this building. But as of right now, this is starting to definitely shape up. And this is where like a box starts to become homey feeling. We got to add some things into the ceiling. So I'm thinking for the interior, what I can do, grab my building gadgets, and we can take some logs. I'm going to place a log like this sideways. And I'm thinking right on these connectors, we'll set this to build to me. And all of these sections right here, I want to have logs. And I think that is going to be a pretty good starting point for like the way the interior is going to look. And then all of these definitely need to be stripped. And you know what? Actually, I'm thinking that probably all of these, yeah, all of these should be moved up maybe 1 block. And I'm actually going to leave the doorway sort of clear. And down on the bottom, a little bit of spruce trim, and then we'll add some spruce trapdoors. Close them like that, and that gives this a really nice look. After the wood's placed in, I'm thinking of adding a little staircase over to the side, and this will give me a little platform where we could add some other things from Create to this. Setting up these stairs, this is kind of cool. These andesite catwalks from Create Deco and some catwalks that lead up to here is going to make this look a little bit nicer. So far, the platform is looking pretty good. I'm going to utilize some copycat panels and also some andesite bars. This is another neat little trick that you can do. You can place these bars down like so. Let me grab that real quick. And you can have them placed like standing straight up right against the edge of like walkways and things. So like this, for example, a very good way to have like a railing for whenever you walk up the stairs. This is what I'm talking about. Inside, it is so much more lively because I've added all of those little bits and bobs in the living area here. Living, I mean, that's kind of a funny thing to say, but inside of the factory space, making it feel like it is actually being used and actually alive. And now we have an even larger area up here to potentially put some more machines. But there's still more that needs to be done. Like, why do we have gravel inside the factory area? Why is our floor like the same color as the floor on the outside? I gotta change this. I'm thinking tuff might be one of the best options for a good old factory floor. It's nice and dark colored, and we can utilize the smooth tuff column here, which gives us this connected texture that we can then come into and change down the road. So yes, this will give us like a base outline, and then just like we did on the outside, we can come in and texture around things. After getting that smooth tuff in, I also went in with some tiled tuff and just kind of walked where I would normally walk. And this is kind of organic. This is kind of like how I would walk through the pathing area. So these are areas that essentially like have been filled over time from like constant walking. As far as the inside goes, I think this has turned out really, really well. Now, the coarse dirt and kind of decorating the outside, that's sort of a different story. I kind of want to blend in some coarse dirt into this whole mix. Like, we should probably have some coarse dirt too that's like blended into the walls, into the outer area, making this look a little bit dirtier instead of just being this perfect like area. And there we go. All the way around, I've sort of transitioned with the grass leading into the coarse dirt. and all through the sides. I mean, this is pretty straight here, but I think like adding in a few blocks like here and there would make this look a little less weird. But yeah, that whole straight line, I added some coarse dirt down through the alleyway. And now only thing I have left to do is I want to connect the water wheels some way up to the actual building. So what I'm thinking for this is we will end up using these big beams. And then on these beams, I am going to use these supports. And so we already have most of this set up. I am going to need girders. And let's see, we'll continue this out. I'm actually kind of glad that does continue like this. I wasn't actually expecting it to do that. But right about here is probably good. So we'll have those supports that are set up here. And let's just take a look. Oh yeah, that's going to be great. And that looks so good. This would be perfect for like some sort of like bridge for trains. Wow, the beam from Create, Design, and Decor is beautiful. And overall, for our first major build, I think this is going to be hard for me to top in future builds. But I'm going to try my best. I'm definitely going to try my best. As of right now, this is based off of limited storage. We have still the Create-based storage, which does make going back and forth a little bit more difficult. And we don't even have creative flight or any flight options just yet. So yeah, this is going to be kind of interesting once we do get those options. This, in my opinion, is a really nice, cozy factory and a very simple concept. So if you want to build a factory yourself, just follow these sort of guidelines where you build a box and you expand upon that box. And I guarantee you're going to be able to come up with something really cool as well. And if you do build something or you try to recreate this one, be sure to post it over on my Discord. We do have an image gallery and I love to check all of the posts over there. And I really look forward to seeing what you guys share over on the Discord. Now guys, I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this build, how I could improve it, and or how you might use some of these skills, well, in your own builds. Now, this is merely the start. We have a ton of things automated inside of this factory, but this is only going to help us get into future mods, which I'm pretty excited about. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. And now, without further ado, it's time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks, well, that is going to go out to Okagari. I think I said that right. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible, you absolute boss. Thank you so very much. And guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.